should have brought a silence weapon if I was gonna do solo, but whatever. Wow, I just got taken out. Let's see what that was. I'm pretty sure it was a scav. I just want to see like if it was like a shotgun or something. Yeah, it's a scav. Head and neck, yeah, because there's not a lot of protection there. Lead slug. Just like a sledgehammer just nailed me and just broke my neck. So we'll just go into it. So this week the topic is, well, I guess I'll just get, I'm not sure entirely sure as far as like a word, but it's, how do I put this? Well, the subject is actually about Babylon, and I heard, I learned about Babylon. It was quite interesting, and from a biblical sense, it's basically like this kingdom that was ruled and ultimately just people were captured and they had to make a choice, right? They could either A, give up their religion and follow the religion of Babylon, which was essentially whoever was the ruler was the religion, right? That's who you worshipped. Or B, you stuck with your religion and just said you're not going to do anything they say and, well, not be useful or anything like that, and just kind of, well, you probably weren't going to last long, let's put it that way. And then someone ultimately, and by the way, if I get bits and pieces of this wrong, I didn't do extensive research on this, I just thought the story was cool, so forgive me if little pieces of detail are wrong, but the overall idea should still be the same. And then someone stood up and said, you know, let's not do either of those options. It's like, okay, well, which option do you have then? Because those are kind of the two main options, right? Like you either A, follow their demand, or B, you don't. So what could you possibly have as an alternative? Well, the alternative to that is you can say, well, we'll go ahead and do what you say. It's like, isn't that just option A? No. You do what they say, but you still hold on to your own beliefs. Like, you don't completely give up what you believe, right? But you be useful. You go, okay, if you need help, we'll help you this, or do the work, whatever the work was. Like, you'll be useful, productive members of that society. But when it came down to it, if they demanded you worship the ruler, which was their, you know, basically, again, that was their religion. Whoever was the head person was who you worshipped. You basically say, no, I'm just not doing that. I'll still be useful to you, but I still believe in my God, and that's just all there is to it. And yeah, you just stood into the face of that, and they ultimately, they faced great pressure to convert, but they ultimately stood their ground. And it's like, okay, that's great. How does that relate to today's day and age? It's like, well, let's step back and think of like what Babylon represented. It represented people who ruled their area, and they captured people and said, hey, you have to follow our way of doing things. And the people, you would think, A, say, okay, fine, completely give up everything, or B, no, and just don't be useful and don't do anything. It's like, well, just get rid of you then. Or, you know, again, option 3, which was not really expected, but you can actually just be helpful, but still say, well, yeah, I'll be helpful, but I still don't believe in what you're selling, right? Like what you believe is not what I believe. Don't get me wrong, I'll still be useful. Yeah, I'll help you out, but I'm going to hold on to what I believe, and that's just all there is to it. And it's like, you know, there is, you know, something to that. And it relates to this day and age, I think, more than people realize. And when you think about today's day and age, it's like, how do you equate that to today's day and age? Well, an area that's ruled by people that think you should worship them instead of whatever you believe, right? It's like, what does that sound like? Let's say today's day and age, you go somewhere and they're like, hey, we'll give you this if you do X, Y, and Z, right? And it's legit, you know, you're just doing some work or something. And it's like, okay, sure, fine. And then it's like, well, this goes on for some time, and all of a sudden they start saying, well, it's fine. What you've been doing is good. We think you're really good at it, actually. But now we want you to also do this. We want you to do more and even like believe certain things, this and that. And it's like, well, wait a minute. That wasn't what I signed up for. And it's like, yeah, but if you want to, you know, stay and be in the good graces and all that stuff, you kind of want to do this. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like, it's the whole thing as far as, it's not exactly like putting a gun to your head kind of thing, but it's more or less, it's kind of the implication behind it. And it's like, well, then you're kind of like left to those similar options, right? Do you say, okay, fine, and just basically give in and do that, you know, work as, you know, much as they want and anything like this just to make them happy, and you just give up pretty much any freedom from your end or anything on your side as far as, you know, any free time, anything like that? Or do you say, no, I'm not doing that, and it's like, I'll still help you out? Or you can, you know, say, well, I'm not going to do that, and you just leave. Which in today's day and age is obviously, it's not the same as it is before, like with Babylon, where they would just, you know, get rid of you. This day and age is a little more like, well, I can just go somewhere else and work. But it's like, that can still be a pain, right? Like, you can still have trouble, and maybe it was a good place, like it was a good location or something. It would just be a pain to have to, like, get, you know, not be there anymore for some reason. Or maybe you just, you know, have to accept that you wouldn't be paid as well somewhere else. But then it's like, well, let's think about that third option. It's like, well, I'll still do what you want and work, you know, what you like and work well, but all those things you mentioned that are extra, like more, or, you know, believe in this or believe in that, it's like, nah, I'm good. I'm just gonna do my thing and keep doing what I was doing before. And all those things that they like hint at or wink at, like, well, that's probably not going to look good on review this, review that. And it's like, okay, whatever. So, and that's, you know, that's an option, right? And it's like, what does that sound like to you? It kind of just sounds like modern day corporate America, doesn't it? I mean, I don't know about you, but I've had experiences. Just, you can start out and they, you know, like what you do, and then it's always more and more this, that, or you say, maybe you do say no. It's like, well, nah. But then next, you know, performance review comes around. Maybe you don't even get a performance review, or you don't get quite as much of a boost in your salary or how much you make that you might expect otherwise. And it's like, well, I do this, this, and that. But yeah, but you don't do this. And it really starts to drive home, like, well, they really are going to hold you back as far as that if you're not going to be willing to bend over backwards and say, hey, I'm going to work as many, let's just put, you know, like hours as you want or something like that. And it's just like you have to make a choice in that regard. And, you know, for some people, that choice is they want to do that stuff. They want to put in those extra hours because they do want to, I don't know, get to the top of whatever corporate ladder there is, blah, blah, blah. But if you're one of those people, it's like, hey, you're not interested in that, and well, just because you're not interested in it doesn't mean someone's not going to come up to you and say, hey, you should do this, or hey, can you come, can you work on Saturday or something like that, whatever the case might be. And, you know, it always comes with the implications, like you're never outright told, or at least not usually, hey, if you don't do this, we're going to just not give you as much in terms of raises, if any at all. And whatever else the case might be. And it's just like, yeah, well, you know what? Whatever. You know, that's the thing, is the culture really is, what are you willing to say? What are you willing to say, hey, I value my time and work-life balance to the point where I'm willing to sacrifice a little bit of my paycheck to say, you know, I'm going to do good work. I'm going to, you know, when I'm here, I'm going to do the best I can. But when it's the end of my shift, I'm going home and that's it. And whatever the case might be, it's just like, well, you might not see as much blah, blah, blah on the next review. And it's just like, okay, fine. And, you know, it's just, that's a reality. But at the end of the day, you know, you get to go home. You know, as other people, they might grumble about it, but it's like, you know, you chose that. You know, if you choose to stay late, you chose that. If you're somebody that's higher up on the ladder, you chose that position because you chose to do the extra. You chose to stay late. And it's like, that's all fine and dandy. If you're one of those people that choose to do that, by all means, you, as much as anybody else has the choice not to, you have the choice to do that. That's fine. But then don't turn around and then look at the person who chose not to and be like, well, they're not as good as a worker as blah, 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 maybe myself or somebody else. And it's just like, it's like, well, just because you believe something doesn't mean I have to, you know? And this is where it all kind of mixes in with, you know, modern day Babylons. You know, everywhere you look, you can find them. You can look at countries, you can look at businesses, they're all over the place. Every one of them is always putting on the pressure, hey, believe what we believe, or this, and that. And it's just like, nah, I'm good. But it might mean you do have to sacrifice a little bit. Or just wait until you find something better. That's the other thing too. Like, the nice thing about today's day and age is a lot of the time you can find something else, right? Eventually. Like, it might take you a little bit of effort, but you can find something else. Or again, if you like where you're at, but you don't want to do that extra and you're not into it. It's just like, well, keep doing what you're doing, do as good, you know, do well. If you know, whatever they like about you, whatever job you're doing, if they like what you're doing, just keep doing that and then accept whatever it is. And it's just like, yeah. And at the end of the day, you might not get as much in your paycheck, but you get to go home and have a life. I think that's worth it. Didn't usually buy those that much, but whatever. I just wasn't thinking. Too busy talking, but yeah, I heard the story of Babylon. It was like, wow, that really is how it is today, huh? Like that does kind of encapsulate the way it is in like corporate America and stuff like that, or just corporate in general. So, and the idea behind it all is just, you do a job well done so that, but then you also stand your ground and you know, go home whenever you're done. And oh, these are cool. I want to try that. And you just, and that's how you kind of bring about change in a way, because if people en masse do that, that's how change happens, right? You know, I've personally witnessed change happen in the sense that it used to be you couldn't, you know, wear earbuds where I am. You couldn't, you had to be, it was like business casual. But now it's, you can wear jeans and you can wear earbuds and stuff like that. And that came about because when they went to go hire new people in the last, you know, however many years it's been, they had trouble finding people that were willing to accept the position because they literally just said no. And when they asked why, they said, because I can't wear earbuds here. And the place I work at now, I can, and I don't want to work somewhere where I can't. So when enough people stand up and say, hey, this is what I want, these are the work conditions I want, ultimately businesses, if they want new workers, which they have to always have new workers, you can't run a business without workers. I don't care what they say. Yeah, they're gonna eventually say, they're gonna bend to the will of the workers, you know. And it's the change that's been happening over time, is I've noticed. And even, you know, like flexible scheduling or working from home and stuff like that, you know, all these things are happening more and more. Because why? Because people are saying, hey, I want that, and I will give up some money on my paycheck to go work somewhere where they give me that. So either you give me that or I'll go somewhere else. And that's really what it's always been a battle of. You know, it's modern day Babylon is trying to battle with normal everyday people and what they believe. And Babylons are always saying, well, we want you to work 70 hours a week and, you know, no earbuds, and you just stay at your desk and your business casual, whatever. And it's just like, and people are just like, no. And Babylons are saying, okay, fine, you win, because ultimately they need workers, right? So I guess at the end of the day, it's, you know, it can be a little scary, though. Don't get me wrong. It can be a little scary to say, no, I'm not going to do that, because at the end of the day, it's like, you know, they have a little bit more power than you do, right? I mean, you can go find another job, but they can also, you know, find ways to, like, let you go or fire you, whatever, if they really want to. But if you're a good worker, it's going to be like, well, they're not going to want to, you know? And that's just it. Just, you know, if you're a good worker, I mean, even if you're a good worker, you can still find yourself in that position. But if you're a good worker, I'm sure you'll find something else, right? And that's just, you know, at the end of the day, that's also going back to, like, always, like, if you trust God, he's got you. Just stand your ground, and don't get me wrong, be polite, be nice, you know, say, hey, I understand what you're saying, but I respectfully decline, and I'm going home. And that's just it. You know, they can't force you, not really. And when you stand your ground, you get to see. It's just one of those things. It's like, I personally have been standing my ground for years, and, you know, sometimes it's, you know, it's not always taken positively, but at the end of the day, hey, I'm still at the same place for years. It's just like, well, clearly, and clearly they're, you know, they're not getting rid of me because I do I believe a good job. And it's like, well, I can't be that bad at it. You haven't gotten rid of me. So, and that's just it. You know, just, you know, believe in what you do. If you do a good job, just believe in that and stand by what you believe. I think at this point, I've pretty much made my point, and I think you get what I mean. So, trying to think if there's anything else. I guess just recap what happened. Got some tasks done, went to Interchange, got Anubis task done, got I wanted to go get the book on Interchange. I couldn't get that, but I did go to Woods and get that Blood of War done. I have to go get the book for Ragman again. for the key to success, but I did make some headway on the peacekeeping mission. 2 out of 12 for interchange. I need 10 more. So I need 7 more for woods. I have to go to a bunch of different maps and do this and just get this done. It's just a pain kind of task, but it'll be good to have it done and just move on. So yeah, I think that's all I got. I had fun today. It's always good that I'm very blessed. I got friends that show up every week and play, and we have a good time together. And that's just awesome. Yeah. Thank you, Father. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Holy Spirit. I hope you have a blessed day. I hope you're having a good 2025, and I hope you have a blessed year. All right, get out of here. Bye. Thank you for joining me. See you.